on my phone it says, I think you're my wife.
And my phone said, I think you're my husband.
And we were like, ah!
I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling for nobody else but you. You caught my eye, and I've got a feeling I'm falling.
Welcome back to Meet the Masons.
Thank you guys for coming back. So as promised, we are going to share our story with you guys and how we met. Let's go.
All right. So it was a Wednesday night. I had just moved into town, and well, not really moved into town. I was on the other side of town in Daytona, and Kiara was in Orlando, so it's not too far from each other, but nonetheless, I was visiting my aunt at a church, a local church, Great Faith Church. Woo! Best church in town.
Yes.
And that Wednesday night, obviously I wasn't a member at the time, so I was just scoping out the environment, and I sat down, and literally, as soon as I sat down, I heard the voice of the Lord say, that girl over there is your wife. Oh, look at this. Hey, she fine. Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Come on. See, when God picks it for you, he picks it for you, boy. And that guy up there preaching is your pastor. And I'm like, what? So she was walking down the back aisle, down the middle. She was coming from the restroom. And he was like, yeah, that's where you're going to get married at. So I'm like, okay. So not in the restroom, but in the middle aisle down to where the altar was. So at the end of the service, pastor gave the appeal to see if anybody wanted to join. And I was like, hey, I want to join. He was like, hey, we don't normally do this on Wednesdays, but hey, come on up here, son. Hey, everybody, this is our newest member, Jared. What?
Okay, so then fast forward to the day that we actually, that service, so that's Sunday?
Okay, that was a Wednesday night, which is when I first had that encounter. Sunday, now I can talk to anybody. I talk for a living. The first thing I did, I was like, all right, I'm listening to the word, but at the same time, I'm a little sidetracked because I'm like, man, this is my pastor, this is my wife. It's like, these are really important people in my life, and I'm just meeting them. I want to say a lot of stuff, but I don't really have anything to say, which is weird. So at the end of service, I walk over and I'm talking to everybody. I'm just trying to pretend like I'm not really trying to get to her, but obviously I was. So I got over to her, and the first thing I said is like, hey, so do you know how to dance salsa? First thing out of my mouth. Couldn't think of anything else.
Yes.
Not what's your name, not hey, how you doing, hey, I'm new here, nothing. Do you dance salsa? Because I love dancing salsa.
He loved dancing. Woo! So as soon as he came and approached me, I mean, first of all, he was like a new member, and I had always spoke to the new people there. Stop. So I always talk to the new people at church, and so I was just like, hey, how you doing? He asked me if I dance salsa. I was like, oh yeah, so I did this little salsa move as if I really knew how to dance salsa. Unbeknownst to me, he was a salsa instructor. So he knew, I'm pretty sure he could see that I didn't dance salsa, but he thought it was cute.
It was cute.
So he went along with it.
She's cute.
So after that, we ended up going to, so his aunt and his cousin had already been going to the church. I was already friends with his family. They never told me that they had a nephew or cousin or whatever.
That was so fun. Hey.
Whatever. So we both ended up going to their house after church that day.
Who planned it?
I think they invited us individually and told us both to come.
So what happened was, literally, I was not supposed to be in town because I was working my other job, and it just so happened that I got transferred to an area that was about 3 or 4 miles away. So it was a coincidence, but it was not a coincidence. It was a destiny intersection. So with that, I get invited over to the house. So if I get invited over, that most likely means I'm cooking. But long story short, we were in the kitchen and we were cooking. We were just talking about life and where we were in life. So she had different interests, and she thought was just her own world, but it happened to be the same exact thing I was doing in Daytona, she was doing in Orlando. So I was like, wow, it's a girl that's living the same life I'm living for the Lord and having fun, but at the same time, it's like, how are you doing everything I'm doing? It was pretty interesting.
So we found out that we pretty much had the same interests. Especially the big getter was that I wanted a t-shirt company, and he worked with someone who was printing t-shirts. And I was like, that is such an odd thing to both have an interest in, on top of the fact that we were both, I had just got done with the pageant. he won a pageant or two. And I was just like, he's a male version of me. I can't take this. This is so weird. And I was like, man.
It was pretty funny.
That's crazy. So after that, I went into his cousin's room, Precious, and Lucy was there as well. And went into the room, and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all. I don't know. I think he might be the one. I don't know. It was just really weird.
Now, mind you, all the guys are on the outside of the door leaning in like, what are you talking about? And all we hear is, and I was like, yeah, they're talking about your boy.
Anyway, so fast forward to that. I was at an internship at the time, and he asked me on our first date.
Now, hold on. You fast forwarding to Tuesday, but something happened on Monday. So that was Sunday.
What happened on Monday?
I had to take the whole day off. I went to work Sunday night, and I was like, you know what? I cannot go to work. I'm taking this day off. And I was like, Lord, I need to hear from you. I heard you the first time, but can you repeat it just in case? Because if this is really you, everything in my life is about to change. And it didn't seem like anything changed, but at that moment, everything in my life changed. So I took the day off. I was like, all right, God, you serious about this thing? And he was like, yeah, I'm serious about it. So Tuesday, I sent a message, hey, you want to grab something to eat? And we went to Four Rivers. That was our first date.
Our first date was at Four Rivers. This was the kicker. So we went there, we got our food, we ate outside on the benches. He sat across from me, and we're eating, enjoying our food, and I don't know if he asked me if I had something to say or I looked like I needed to say something. No, I don't remember how it was initiated, but I'll say the other part.
Basically, what it was I was like, hey, I got something. I'm not sure if you're gonna this is gonna scare you off, but I got something I really have to say. And then she was like, I got something I have to say too. And I was like, how about this? We say it on 3. I'll turn my phone around, and you turn your phone around.
So we wrote it on our phones.
Yeah.
What we wanted to say.
Yeah. So we turn our phones around like this. And it was like, on my phone it says, I think you're my wife.
And my phone said, I think you're my husband.
And we were like, ah! Well, she was like that.
No, I wasn't like that. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I was like,
whatever. So as we were eating, I just felt like the Lord told me that was my husband, and it was so weird. And I don't even know why I would tell a guy on my first date that I think you're my husband. That was just like so beyond me. But I was like, I think it's right. It feels right. I had a piece about it, and we both were on the same page.
At the same time.
But then things took a turn for the worse. Not necessarily the better for you.
And it was, because anytime you have a seed, you have to put dirt on it if you expect it to grow.
Okay.
And I had to water the seed of the word in my heart. And I was like, hey. So I'm going to tell the short version, and then you can tell the long version, because your version is something else. So for 9 months after this magical, wonderful encounter, she avoided me like the plague. Didn't want to see me, didn't want to talk to me, nothing. Every time.
It wasn't 9 months. It was 8 months.
8 months. It felt like 9 months. I was pregnant with that thing. So, what?
That's funny.
So, it felt like forever. But nonetheless, the whole time I'm just getting these different opportunities like, okay, you know what? Either you're going to believe the word or you're not. Believe the word or you're not. And everybody was like, man, you're crazy. You don't even know this girl. You don't even know her name. She just came out of nowhere. Man, you're doing good. You just graduated, just started working your job. Don't worry about it. Hey, there's more girls that come along the way. It's all fine. And everybody thought I was crazy. Literally, everybody thought I was crazy.
Okay, so within those 8 months, this is what happened. So a couple days later, after our first date, I took Jared to this place that I used to sing at, and I had, so a couple of my friends saw him, and then one of my friends came over and was just like, hey, that guy that came with you, yeah, I don't think he's the one. Mind you, I didn't tell her that we were dating because we weren't. We just went on the first date or whatever.
I was never her boyfriend.
Yeah, we actually were never boyfriend and girlfriend.
Hey.
We were never boyfriend and girlfriend. But anyway, so it was at the end of the event, and she was like, I don't think he's the one. So for me, I was just like, I'm a very cautious and methodical person. So I was already kind of nervous because I had just gotten out of a relationship like 2 weeks before I met him. So for God to tell me that this is your husband after I just got a relationship, that was already crazy for me. And then for her to say she doesn't think he's the one. All right, well, you know what? I'm done. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So what I thought, at least. So during that time, I was just like, you know what, he's just gonna be my friend. But I just kind of stopped talking to him because I was really scared.
Kinda. You stopped talking
I stopped talking to him. I was scared. But there were moments where he would like check up on me during those 8 months, be like, hey, what are you thinking about? And it'll usually be on a day that I felt really down or like I really needed encouragement. I'm like, how does he always know when to text me?
Holy Spirit, hey.
Yes.
Woo.
So on top of that time, I got to a point and I credit a lot of how I started thinking about, how both of us started thinking about dating to our pastors, Pastor Patrick and Lady Angela.
Yeah.
Because I totally stopped believing in boyfriends. I had so many boyfriends before and I'm like, what are they promising me? Nothing. We're not promising each other nothing. We have no rings. There's no point of doing this. So in the time, I just started getting to know other guys.
It was a lot of free dinners, basically.
He would say, I didn't see it that way, but I enjoyed the dinners or whatever. But the crazy thing that got me was that even during the time where I wasn't talking to Jared, he was always so kind to me. He was always patient with me. I even brought one of the guys that I was talking to over to his house one time.
That was messed up.
He invited us over and he served us as if everything was okay between us. I mean, it was crazy.
Now, this is two sides, because everything starts from the natural, and then there's a spiritual side of it as well. My mom always told me, no matter who you meet, you always have to treat every girl as if that's going to be your wife. So growing up with that foundational principle, it's like, all right. And then you also have to treat every girl as if it's your sister, because if you treat a girl a certain way and somebody does that to your sister, you're going to be upset. So I'm like, man, I'm in quite a bit of a box. And then the other side of that is like, all right, if God says this is my wife, obviously I have to have a utmost respect for her. So no matter if she's acting right or if she's acting wrong, whatever the case may be, with that seat in my life or in my heart, based on God's word, I have to esteem her in a certain way. So I can't be like, oh, you know what? You treated me nice on Monday, so I'm gonna treat you nice on Monday. Tuesday, you did me dirty, so forget you. We don't have to do this. Hey, look, you can go back to your mama's house. None of that. So with this, even in the midst of her being mean about stuff, a little disrespectful, a little rude, I had to stand strong.
Yes, he was great.
Yeah.
So I never, even in the midst of me not talking to him and not treating him as I should have, he was always very respectful. He always spoke to me. He was always nice. I needed to go to Jacksonville one time. I didn't have a car. Maybe a couple times. I didn't have a car. And he volunteered to take me.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool. And the funny thing is that when we went to Jacksonville that one time, my family, I just have a very southern family. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but every boyfriend I had, they had to meet him. I don't think it's a southern thing. I think it's just they were overprotective and I was the very first grandchild on both sides. So every boyfriend they met, I don't care if we were together for 2 years or 2 days, they had to meet them. So after I renewed my mind on dating, when Jared dropped me off, I said, you don't have to get out of the car. I don't want my dad to meet you because we're not dating anyway, so there's no point and it's not going anywhere, so don't get out the car. So he actually was there in the presence of my dad, but I didn't let him meet him.
I was in the car.
I didn't let him meet him.
And her dad was like, who's that in the car?
I'm like, oh, it's just a friend.
Oh, just a friend, huh?
It's horrible because he had brought me all the way to Jacksonville.
Hours.
I just made him stay in the car.
She made me stay in the car.
It was bad.
It was bad.
Anyway. He took me to Jacksonville, did those things, and then in between those times, we just kind of didn't talk. So we went from February now to September. September, we had a singles event, and we got to display our talents, and me and 2 other friends, we did a
singles piece.
A singles piece. It was a spoken word.
Spoken
word on being single, basically. Single ladies piece. It was really awesome. Maybe I can find a way to let you guys see the link to that. But after it, Jared came to me and said,
I have a witness that you're my wife.
You didn't say it again that way.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, I said, I think we should be friends. Like, that's all I feel.
He was like, no, thanks. I think we should just be friends, and that's that. He was like, oh.
Yeah. So I was already on my single woman empowerment stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And I don't know why I kept saying no. I think it was just because I got scared, and I wasn't sure if I believed anymore. I was just kind of scared. I just didn't know. So within that time, I was like, but I felt that it was time for me to be married. I just sensed this feeling that it was time for me to be married, not because I was anxious about it, because times past I was very, very anxious to get married. Like, been through this road before of wanting to be married and being with a boyfriend and all those different things. But this time it was different. It was just like, it's time for me to be a wife. So I wrote down everything that I wanted in a husband, and it was like 99 things on that list of what I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I believe God that these are the things I'm gonna have in my husband, and that's that. So a couple weeks go by.
It was 100 things. There's only one thing I wasn't on that list.
Was it 100 things?
Yeah.
I think it was 90 something.
It was 100 things.
The only thing that
it was 99 things and 98 things I was.
Okay.
There's one thing
we'll get to that.
I just said I wasn't dark skinned.
I wanted somebody that was
dark
chocolate.
Everybody got no black sleeves.
I realized that in the grand scheme of life, it didn't matter if he came in a dark skin package, light skin, white skin, it didn't matter. So I got that.
And I got all those mixed up in one. So.
Anyway, so then one Sunday, church is over. Usually we're all gathered around and like you're talking to your friends and things like that. And every time someone leaves, we always say bye.
Right.
So I'm sitting down with my friends and I see Jared leave and he did not say bye to me. And I'm like, who does he think he is not saying bye to me? I don't know. Does he have a girlfriend? Because if he has a girlfriend, he needs to let me know. And so I go home. I finally got a car. Yeah, by that time I finally got a car. So me and my friends, we went back to our house. We all lived together in the house. And they're like, Kiara, what are you talking about? You don't even like him. Why do you care? What do you mean? Does he have a girlfriend? You don't care if he has a girlfriend or not. And I was like, shut up. You just shut up. What are you guys talking about? So after that, I was really frustrated because I'm like, well, why do I care? Like, that is so frustrating. Why do I care? So I went and I prayed. I went to my room. It was probably like 5 or 6 in the afternoon or in the evening or whatever. And I went to my room and I prayed. And I'm like, Lord, I really want to know who I'm supposed to be with. I want to know if I'm supposed to be married right now. I'm just really frustrated. And I just want clarity. I want to be with your best for me. So then I prayed and I got a vision of me being with a guy that I really thought I wanted to be with, and our marriage was horrible. Like I was very discontent. The same way our relationship was how our marriage continued to be. It was horrible. Then I had a vision of being with Jared, and I was just so happy, so at peace, so blissful. And I'm like, okay, God, you had already told me this. You already told me this
Lord,
before.
we thank you for dreams.
Yes, so God speaks to me in dreams in a number of ways. So once I saw that vision, I was just reminded that God had already told me this in February, that this was my husband. I've been running from it. What I think I want is not God's best for me, but He's the one that's for me. So then after I got up from crying and seeing the thing, I text him. I've seen a dream. I text him and I said, hey, do you still feel the same way? And
I was like, same about what?
I know. He knew exactly what I was talking about. And so eventually he said yes.
And I was like, yeah, I still feel the same. Yeah, I still feel the same.
He still felt the same way. So then we ended up going to Panera in Orlando. Anyway, so we met at Panera and it was just like, oh, we knew that we were supposed to be married and we're happy.
And the cool thing is, so we already, of course, had the talk, and it was like, all right, so are we gonna do this or we gonna do this? That was my question to her. She was like, we gonna do this. She gave me a hug. I was looking at her. She was looking at me. No, I was looking at her, looking at me while I was looking at her.
And then they kissed. It was like,
and she was like,
no, it was like an elementary school kiss. He was like, I was like, really?
Hey.
That's it. But that's all we needed to do.
It was funny.
That's all we needed to do. And I did not, that's, okay, so it was 2 things that didn't happen. So I planned on whoever the guy was that I wanted to marry. I really loved Heather Lindsay's testimony. So I was like, okay, yeah, whenever I find the man that I'm going to court and date and, you know, get married to, we're not going to kiss before, you know, our wedding day.
Now,
went out the window.
We did both get married as virgins.
We did.
Which is awesome.
So
and we'll talk about that another time.
Yes. So that was, you know, we definitely had a path to purity. So we definitely had boundaries. Right. You know. But our first kiss was very elementary. It was nothing. And it was like, okay, right there. Kiss. I didn't want to do that, but it felt right.
This is all the action.
Yeah. So within 3 weeks, Jared, this is one more cool thing.
What?
We went up to Jacksonville And I called my
Barbershop,
daddy.
barbershop.
Yeah, I called my dad. I was like, hey dad, I want to come up there to see you. Da 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 da. And so he asked me, he was like, are you about to get married? And I'm like, what? Why would you even ask me something like that? He knew I wasn't dating anybody, so I was upset that he would even ask me that. But at the same time, it was confirmation for me, and it was something that I always wanted, that, you know, my dad was okay, you know, okay with the marriage or whatever.
Love you, Dad.
So we went up to Jacksonville, and then Jared asked my dad for my hand in marriage. That was like 3 weeks later.
That was a funny conversation. So he was like, hey, have you ever seen WWF? I was like, yeah. He was like, you know how you got a partner, and when you almost ready to tap out, you reach out your hand, and they tap your hand, they jump in the ring? Yeah, I'm about to tap your hand. Once you jump in the ring, I'm out the ring. And it was the funniest conversation, but he was serious.
He was serious.
And yeah, I'm in the ring.
Yes. So.
And I got a ring, obviously.
Yes, he got me a ring. So after that, I felt happy. I'm like, okay, my dad knows this is about to happen. So then I knew that at some point I was gonna be engaged, but I didn't know when it was gonna happen, but I knew sometime it was gonna happen. So November 6th, so mind you, we had started talking within October or whatever. November 6th is when he proposed to me in church, and then 3 weeks later, November 30th, we got married.
Yes. And that is the special reason why we have this episode.
Yes. And then later episodes, we will let you know why we had a 3-week engagement.
Why we had the 3-week engagement, 2 weddings,
Yes.
and when we got married, we were still virgins.
Still virgins. Yeah, so that'll be another episode. But that is our story. Hopefully you guys got a lot of information and a lot of questions answered about how did we meet and how did the Masons come about.
It's going to be a lot more detail, so please stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.